Woman hene, Babina Sante. Woman hene, Babina Sante. Woman hene, Babina Sante. Yeah, what can I say? We'll carry on.
Asempa FM.
Yes, I'll be back. 20 minutes to the top of the hour, 5 higher Asempa 94.7 Ekosiisen Jumedino Anna Uguswa Utino. Game Park, Yamama Kwaba, Game Park. Ene de sikane bema mpa. Eti ukura sikane de anache se ukura tumi ankasa. Game Park for cow se one multiply effect no ebe mo ni agye abroso. Eti ene de almost say ade ba kwese hunu se Ghana your newest lottery game draw abaye live on Adum TV no nonkono promoto na afi no nsiabo de biada na e de ahyehye so e de amawo mamema kwa abefa so abetima ye nkunifo no anya mfa so kama na ode de ujuma de biada no na siri ahye wafunu mu ma ene se ofa phone na tablet na computer na download the Game Park games no on app Play Store na no achi no so no Abiana pese okon website na kodi se adwuma na www.gameparkgames.com na afi opeso so anu dial *946# all networks one say and you be choose 4 numbers 0 to 9 4 numbers very easy to play and to win. The Game Park for this year, catch you and say, one will multiply effect be a ultra 20 or the time say, no one yasika, Kessia, Mechesen Faso eba hono, one casa obajatum, one or a year straight sets be on 2 streets, 3 streets, in also on a Casan Sheno, said the bear udi unkunim no, ultra 20 cities no, nasa multiply effect, udi jumane boa mosicaro, unyan Faso Kessia pa. Game Park se menka say the more ultra no, the more na unya sika, the more na unya power so. Game Power, one Jumedi, is regulated by the National Lottery Authority. Anafe Mekao says, Unimru, a year, Enfie Edungotria, Wadarma, Mfao MM. Game Park Limited, a year, Lotto Fufra Bejaswa, Ebwa, Amene, Yenijetime Dimu, na Ewi, a year, Payo. I think Mohammed Abekam in Sawa Adam say miracles Abu Ajibaba na face Dr. Twum Barima so ebe Abeka yen sa atika kwaba.
Me jusu me.
Na hoye. Over the weekend we be akọ come out me to kwan na.
Oh, men to kwan economy I didn't say we dem to kwan.
Oh, that's a kwantu there. We there. Oh, responsible Gambaga obeko.
Oh, as Kennedy to kwan enkanka Oko Republic ho there as Kennedy to kwan. But
Chumsi brand the same man.
Okay.
Yeah, Chumsi brand the same man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ana udi o man no nyadi ma.
I mean me call na hu hia se me call eye
nsebi. Wo yi ma no. Me see ana o man no emu nyadi ma.
Asitinem kuranya o man no. Asitinem me am personal economy no. As no the big economy no.
Say no, it is, you see it is a microeconomics. Like individual economies in who aggregate and then you get the macroeconomy.
But you still have to manage and go.
Manage the manage, but go on and minko.
I do how manage all kinds of
because our mind more brutal. And you know, it has found expression in
the understatement.
Oh yes,
how can say o mind more dear. Abruso.
I mean that's a better way to put it. And I think Nya Kenya finds proper expression in the presentation of the finance minister no no but Yabeka wants
okay
maybe say we you do pempens will be we need some magic.
You hear magic.
Oh yeah, we hear magic. And baby a way is even better compared to if we hadn't taken certain decisions. Yankwa IMF, you can imagine what would have happened. IMF mponi you. Yakwa IMF mponi to help stabilize the economy. Umponio, imagine Anka Yankwa IMF. Anka Ghana would be considered one of the failed states. No, Anka yani baby I ye quick cry for example. Asian country, Eastern, I think it's an Eastern Asian or Western Asian country. They had similar economic situation as Ghana. And I'm Sukrama, your stage coup. They ousted the president. I'm trying to.
Omoko take you over.
Yes, exactly. Indonesia never been Indonesia. It's here for Mutia Munkai, so country. No, and if we hadn't gone to the IMF, Anka would be in a similar crisis. Because with IMF in some semi-cry, the recovery is super sluggish. So economic culture say recovery is sluggish. It's just better than not making a movement, but there is still a great deal of inertia. What must say? Yeah, BB dear, but yanko BBI, yanko BBI. Bon. Ebimaka say, if you look at the rate of inflation, Eswati from around 50% to 40%. But that is, we're merely getting to the levels, similar levels in 2022. By October 2022, now I'm 40.2%. And if we are around 40%, just even though it's a slight improvement, by if your inflation, the general rate at which I amount for tonema, 40%, Master, it tells you, say, the value of real incomes, Eswati Papa. What you must say, and now Deputy Minister Biti my increasing leap from 45 to 90. In real terms, it's even way less compared to what they were receiving. 45 no, is when you account for inflation. Maybe at the time na mutua 45, inflation was 18%. What you must say? So see, 90%. And inflation is around 50%. But the real value of the real value of that transfer is way less compared to when they were receiving 45 cedis at an inflation of 18%. What is it? And in real terms, when you're actually, they are actually even worse off than they were. And you take the absolute figure and say, dear. But Sebi, you are speaking to Ghana for. Yamvan say. Now we get to year 2000, and at the time, inflation was say 10%. What you say? And your income no year 2000 could afford you 10 pairs of shoes. Hypothetically speaking, two market you.
Shoes
Exactly, because inflation no bona kosro. And you kwaya buy. If the absolute value of your income might have, the nominal value might have increased, but in real terms, no income no eswati enko baby I. Now,
a reflective, I said, can go beyond 10.
Absolutely.
I mean, about 11 and not 12 me.
We should not just be throwing nominal figures and claims over here.
Those figures and you're encouraging enough.
They are not, because welfare of recipients, and shall improve here. Because whatever increase gets whittled away by the effects of inflation. And in real terms, the transfer. The value of the transfer is way lower compared to when it was 45 cedis at lower inflation rate. And there are other issues, baby. Look, say yes, man. Midase.
You need common
but answer me. But I'm just trying to when we get into the full details of the statement he presented, I'm happy to say he didn't submit a supplementary budget. Now what he did was just to present to us a review of budgets now Omudi can present here performance so far. And usually when you present your budget in November, you don't have the full complement of the data. Because fiscally and you don't have the entire data for all the indicators. Into inflation, say mostly you give the update up to the third quarter and all other indicators for that matter. Until we had review you when you present the review statement now. Now I'm a by the end of the fiscal year, this is how this indicator performed, and so on and so forth. Until sometimes it's just to educate us to know the state of the economy. Na many aji say one fa bibian koka ho, but adia hard drink kakra so ne say wonim say ye was at be largely because of the excessive borrowing na ye car ye ko boy enu na edi ankodu sa pempensu. But I was expecting say
any place Sri Lanka, thank you midase
that is Sri Lanka. Nti IMF we cry ye ko ye no enu na aboa ya nyeza de anka be trust Sri Lanka for baby omuduru ye no on say ekaboi ana ekabo hoi ana busia bo hoi idea if you don't keep it in range Edi or how kesiye neba. What must say? Edi or how kesiye pa neba. Na unim say ene metie the presentation, and like I said before we get into the fuller details, no idea I had drink a cran say unim say still I a bobisia. Yeah, because we spoke about fiscal consolidation, yet we keep borrowing. We are doing the very things that got us into the ICU in the first place. Let's just say, Shadam Suya Numa Bibri, and I Shadam Suya and Yansa Bibri from the very things we did that got us into the economic ICU. Yedasu Eye. And I feel, say, for us to be able to get ourselves out of this, Finance Minister Eka said, oh, we've achieved some stability. And like I said, the recovery is sluggish, extremely sluggish. Exchange rate almost is stabilized. It's not necessarily. Well, it still fluctuates, even though within a certain band, you know. But the rate still fluctuates between the 10-12 band. Well, 11 point BB, you know, a bedroom 12 now, but it still oscillates between sub band, you know. Not just even though you can say there is some slight stability, but it's stable per se. But what I want to see is beyond the marginal stability, and I don't even want to call it stability because it might meet Jane boom, and it stays so for a while. And sana eswati na sa and stability no crime shutdown who and who ye.
Well, let's admit that stability, even though it's stable, no, but still.
No, well, within the band, within the band 10-12 band, you know. But I'm saying if your exchange, if your currency is trading for $1 at almost 11, I mean, let's say over the period, let's average it to 11 cedis per dollar. Now, this is how much are we to $1 at? How do you think your business is going to survive? Until I am expecting, by now, Nanka, yes, you know, you be who say, na hondi no, man hoso. And you would see, and once your currency begins to gain strength, no, what that means is that it translates into lower exchange rates against your major trading currencies. Nanka eso tika krakakra ba 7. The minister made the point that now businesses can plan. How can you plan at this exchange rate?
Also, it makes it businesses to plan.
How can you plan at this exchange rate?
He admits so. So it makes it difficult for businesses.
No, okay, I said now they can plan.
No, okay, Ken, and I said doctor.
No, Mika Ken.
Oh, okay.
Also, on your minister, on a deputy minister, I would have been. Also, now businesses can plan. How can you plan with this, you know, fluctuating exchange rate? First, it is not stable, like in the stricter sense of the word stable. And secondly, so it was rododo. Okoport says here, it's technically empty. What you say?
It's a challenge there.
It's a big challenge. It tells you say, and 2 years after COVID, we are still struggling. It tells you say, in Colombia, is not on the path as the picture was presented to us today. We may say that to, you know, excite ourselves, but the truth is that and I expect a lot more work to be done, especially on the fiscal side. Now, when him say there is BBI friend fiscal dominance, when you begin to use when the fiscal side and our fiscal policy makers begin to use their policies to interfere in the management of monetary policy. And once and so does fiscal dominance took the form of, say, when the central bank decides to, you know, use their instruments like open market operations, for example, say, or move term treasury bills in just to mop up excess liquidity in circulation. Government was using open market operations as a way to raise money to support budget. Until you beton treasury bills, ne disikano area supporting budget. Now fiscal dominance is taking a different dimension altogether. Unim says haircuts are Ken non crop for Edima through DDEP. Unim says SSCI is creating reports for the central bank. Now they according to the governor, says SSCI they've recorded losses to the tune of 5.5 billion. And yet Sikakuma, largely because of the haircuts they also suffered, because they also float instruments, almost on instruments in the securities market. What am I saying? na obia enya haircut ebi be affect you. And the banks that agreed to participate in DDEP, you know, the central bank had to redefine or more capital adequacy ratios, no, as a way of exciting them to be part of that program. When you now edika ebre central bank, says a central bank ebre, all because of the fiscal decisions are can and crop for a take here. And look, we seem to be recycling the problem. Yenyem free muye. Because now you claim, oh, DDP, you know, bought you some time. It bought you some respite. Because now, now you've created even a bigger debt for the central bank. Almost it will take them all the way to 2027 for them to be able to raise their liquidity position up to the level of before Moody's has a year. Let's just say, so it's like, now, work with Charles Monsa. So that for some few minutes, no, tipai no, beko form. Because if you can manage, you can still move. But forgetting say, it works with every other part of your body. And you say, enche, tikra best start pai ubim, some other parts of your body will begin to ache as a result of sakat na. What am I say? Until we are still in a mess. And the picture that was presented, I think in reality, yes, but like I said, I've been with you. Futu the MZ and Yadum from the Yejuma. Oh, I'm fine, Yejuma. What must I say? And says, yeah, all we can do is to hope. I mean, twiddle our thumbs and wait and see what is going to happen. Because if Futu and I, the mom say, men, yes, no. Okay, yes, oh, Sebi, they know what they are doing. Ombeyama, whatever outcome they are intending to achieve, but a lot of the time outcomes now omunya and outcomes are ebwaying. And I would have thought, say, baby, you agree to the extent that we had to go to the IMF. You man be one kebesua e kakra. And who said they be papa? And I am not seeing any relief in sight. Minyan who say maybe by the end of this fiscal year, young ben hurry. I am not seeing that happening. Because Ushakra driving complaints about revenue shortfalls. Nyoma bibri. Now revenue. Ambassador. Now so your expenditure is going up. And my TBB, Deputy Minister Nutran, okay, about planting for food and jobs phase 2.
Phase 2.
Phase 1 crying Hosuna phase 2. What happened to the phase 1? Tell me, what are the tangible outcomes of the phase 1? Say, see, food inflation is one of the biggest drivers of overall inflation in this country. Now, planting for food and jobs, anka ebua yama eduani buya, anka the cost of eduani cost rusa, the general levels of prices, ebe kosro. And this phase 1 ya hoswa, phase 2 ebe. But I want to say we sank a lot of money into phase 1, and yes, and you don't. There's a mismatch between the investment we did and the outcomes we got. And one would have thought, say, look, Adiwe, look, in policy formulation, there's always they call it policy cycle. Policy be our cycle. We start these are the objectives. These are the objectives are your war. Then you take the views and the demands of the population. Maybe I want food security. In this case, that's the main objective. That's the demand of the population. We want food security. So that the prices of food that's the demand of the people. Then the political class will take that demand and synthesize it into a policy. Because it has to go through the executive arm and so on and so forth. Now bear policy. Then they implement it. But who implement you monitor to see program na policy na ye de abano. Effect na ye pese yenya no enu na yenya ya na. Until when you monitor and you realize the implementation no baby atuchima. Then through a process called feedback. Now if Ghanaians like the outcomes are not exactly as you expected, no, through the monitoring process, you get a feedback. Then you re-inform the policy, and in some cases, reviewing the policy means terminating the entire policy altogether. That's a way, so meanwhile, this is going to be Ekosiisen. Yes, the phase 2 phase 1, Gradena Yama and phase 2. Nini Nazo, a Sikan, the Ekosiisen. And it is all about the higher expenditures. If you are in crisis, there are two things you do. Either you increase your revenue or you cut down your expenditure. You used to say revenues are not going up. And it's a challenge. Even though innovations be about, you see, they've digitized some of the revenue collection arrangements, but still, so the best thing in this crisis situation is to be reasonable and to moderate our expenditures. But try BB in the first time, and Shadam Boy, instead of us to be careful, and maybe try another approach. There's Yamva phase 2 mbra, and also every policy comes with cost. And so phase 2 say this sika eshemubiem. What's my say? Sikano efrihin eba.
Okay. So
what's my say? So this is just by way of preliminary comments.
One of our regular listeners, Ebusa question, say, is it not true that LEAP and all other things they spoke about have been increased? Is it not true?
Did you listen to what I was saying?
Is it not true that inflation has reduced from around 50% to about 40%? Is it not true?
Do we achievement?
It is not. You see, that's the challenge. It is not about who clarify say a achievement or otherwise. Is it true that is the state now? If it is yes, then we can talk about maybe a pace. I will expect to say but you cannot jump and say all these things the ministry can and correct. And reflect.
I was talking about real value of the transfers. Also, and I'm saying when you take the nominal value from 45 to 90, that's about 100% increase. And yes, sir.
So what is the
value of the 90%?
Still.
Exactly. I'm talking about the real value of the transfers. I'm not saying the nominal increases in Yanukre.
Okay, Mamina was saying.
No, there are some other issues on still on this statement. Okay. These were just comments.
Come on.
Since I want to say I was a good student, I'm still maintaining my good student.
What's your candonka?
I'm friend in line, but there, but uncle.
Mr. Matrais,
I'm sure to be an Abby putting off
arrested.
Chairman
Kukufuka so correct to me, sure, say,
something.
Asaki.
Where
Asaki pictures in you. Some Asaki pictures were graduating, and you'll be at the betting. Akakan, oh, yeah, Jumana Kusukuane Yano. And some Asaki Mamencia, where the edition of the Kofa, a yatiki, so you may refim or Fachemi. Some Asaki, and nay, or born homody, Yakasam Sasaki, a wingo better. Apart from say all vice obenya akwanya sabedi PNC amanyu kurenim as flag bearer no or ye executive secretary Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana ene watimi apm free a Maritime University wabon homodin inti Asaki unfo nyare by the say no say the o change o president mu a o na ma o chacha eti correlations Asaki correlations wabo homodin pa nti wo kan kwa de intempa memfa me ofo ase de ensoso lo ampacho meba
no
memfa me ofo ase de ensoso na no me ho akodim kakra o de ene echina na oje di memfa soso ono so obono modin we Coventry University.
That's my school.
Emmanuela Sapoma Boatima. Degree of Master of Business Administration with distinction.
Okay.
Or Petroleum Economics and Finance. And yes, that's we work with him. Said we see that we work with him. Anyway, was she any Coventry, no.
So I want to make a
school. Okay.
I want to be a law degree in T.
Oh, okay. It's Emmanuel. When you're lawyer, Emmanuel Sapoma Boatin.
That's so bad.
Okay. All right.
It's all fast.
More fast.
Very good.
BBN Obenya Kwenya ba. BBN Obenya Kwenya ba ba be show. Nti Asaki di anaba okohwe Asaki Samson Asaki a wingo bit. I think when the one I was about me mobile who nipa oye. No. Executive Secretary, Importers and Exporters. Chum. Uni other picture bia ho. We are no. We go back. So who is on the become was
him? Masters degree now.
Second degree.
Whatever. Manager specific on the matter.
Oh man, what second degree?
There be me say on no tias. Lawyer no 3 months. Or say masters. Very important.
In day.
Yeah, it me say
masters in day.
Maritime.
Talk of maritime definitely.
No, some maritime school, but one purpose.
There's also yeah, very super breaking down about the Asaki correlations. Correlations. Chumu to the pictures each day. When you watch a lawyer for sure, hey, Asaki one with you. Yaba back anyway. So lawyer, we show no more when you ask a question.
Yeah. And I probably make our YouTube, and I think I'll say it here again. It's a Bible saying if I want Kwana Wadi. So the moment I'll crab through some that's at the bonny pan at all. Was she saying, was she and we be a baby or brown wow. Nasun Yamadan was sort of one quache or more, no one casa and the driver and the personal security. And import the other opponent car now at the Wumbishia, you know. And so many pan so far we ain't tea any serious casualty. I will so much prepared to be in from it's almost in Yanko mom, you know, and Kwang by now. Then former crunch on more one dear, it did more as a fatter. Now, almost as a manyacopo. Sorry, I really was in Maria and Chanko Marone at T4 and Gibraltar. Now, how many kinds of question? And I could for the banner or this is what the country when the national anthem was played. No, they apology letter by. None of you had a matriarch. One drama. None of you had a matriarch. So, this one drum master. President, it is more than a week, right? Oh, Debbie, oh, no, we are just asking.
The following day,
so the point is,
so especially when
has the president spoken to it?
On can was I was just asking because
no down the fear that make
minimum see, but maybe that's one never find can some that you will never hear an Ekufuado speaking about that ill act of her daughter. Sorry, his daughter. One Tisha can was some on can be. And a bedroom ne ya in Numbiara in the kind of remorse being in free in the bad home. Obviously, never possible to be as well who be that pompous lifestyle will be into one year into young queen, no problem. Yeah, say before we see that I never Papa Castle Crum or Casa and do more ever. Am I? Yeah, we understand. And I was say more, most plenty for food and job, second phase.
A Ghana deal, she said, the magazine must say, Eba.
Second phase.
2021,
I buy spend 439 million Ghana cedis. 2022 was spent 614 million Ghana cedis. 23 was so the national projections of the 616 become. Am I in? 70% policy na see ya so chera kase pa na say aban se obema or the scale question nuane duamu am nuane abuso ne busu ya nam so de nyuma eden aba sa asgere no mewa aduane busu ane boye den ba choma bisa question kakra wadaro ma
aduane de se busu na ne de boye den
nti aduane busu ane sa ne bo ntimi nya den mewa nti aduane busu na ne bo ntimi nya den dia me bisa simple question me bisa ni a year on the 10th Monday 10th of October 2022 the date na maboni Monday 10th October 2022 Ghana have had a story by through World Bank. Now say World Bank declare Ghana say Ghana has the highest food inflation in Africa and we are ranked by 122% in sub-Saharan Africa in the year 2022. Omai ya disika twitwi dia mabobodin wa ha kire wi ewura nuane duamu se nuane muso ebusu no emfa nwuma so mra ana waduane bo otimi ye densin Africa mamu ha nyinare nkro bia wokrom Africa nyina from Atifi to South Africa apoye kopmato ye Ghana ayo manya what the western part of the Africa no na duane bo densin wo man biara wa Africa as at October 2022 afemai Meanwhile, before that time, so who's come board in just about the Uramu. To wait, say. There be a say and Napan because this country we don't have leaders, you see ITA. Under this government there is no leadership. We have people who are fronting, but there's no leaders. Or there are no leaders. Leader here. All right. There are no leaders in this country. There's no leader. Because so what leadership was here. We sit down and so I do to say now so what do you work with your thing. Obviously it tells you say Adriana was when I was yes would it's possible maybe we be number one. Or number two, I mean the kind of impact in say so why are you still pushing money? A very simple question. We win Bawumia degree be now with that common sense. You could yen ebuso. We are planting for food. You could yen aba. Nya neba actually we are I was say enuma so actually. Ana ni nyina actually yatam sika twetwe di antisi akowura mu no. Yaduane bo okrom ane bo de Africa mam ha na Nigeria, echen Togo, echen Benin, echen Niger, echen Burkina, obi aduane bo ofo Ghana. To we obi ti ba bi bo ne ho samra ne se wono di bibi a chance ya ba obi nya bi da womuni o enne se budget nse akenkan media review so de ho sem ba me kan paragraph bi na mame mo ho chew enfema ho o say Mr. Speaker, although pension funds were, that is paragraph 56, although pension funds were exempted from the main DDEP, we continue to engage them. As about where you continue to pony Opa bang back on where you continue to pony a banya. It is a say Bawumia Kufado Banya. Why am I saying this? Good. Did you make us in your mind? Why exempting me? Everyone need one mum be wood to. Why are you engaging me? Men can't to engagement down for what reason?
So it's a challenge.
Oh, you are engaging me on what? Ye be you quine. After what media manuha. It's ye engage you on more quine, you know, some more office, and other the bear factor to be or take the national we are one or mine. Why exempted from that? Now, who engages on the dear one and anybody?
Definitely the canon.
Make you Make we see where you exempted. It don't count. No be a non count now. We see who goes in the engagement and every year. No, as a said, there would not parliament. I walk at Ghana for say who goes to engage at Tiki. No, who engage at Tiki, the young man and anybody in there. Why and make a way new book in common sense for the market. This is just common sense. And moving for books and be another. You make book long and be a young for finance and Yadma, young cook and Japan standing. Was one when you book long, or young for common sense and Yadma. Common sense in the maybe that this simple and question. 2 degrees to change. Yen school Yakobi. You could be still young. Young for common sense, finance and Yadma Ziawa. Adia main kahon. But na president for circle and some kwan. O mine. Mo ye be engage mo. Ungo ba hobia ho de engagement there. So you are indirectly telling us say agonta gina ye ne bia na menyanche masa ba ho. That is the meaning. Or that is the inference we can draw from Sassi I'll make in that paragraph. Now we can't see it. That is the inference we can draw from. So it's possible a pension fund who now Sabeka. What is it? It's possible to win now what was a pension fund. Because I won't find pension fund. The other question is why are you still engaging the pension fund holders or whatever or beneficiaries or then the other who engage you? The rationale behind that engagement in the one trim in your paragraph. So what is the rationale? What is the rationale? Am I? What the two are? Wouldn't say because I buy say, and they are not some back over council. You say, on my growth rate, no, or drop on to 1 point something, 1.5 was the same. Where? Also the ba CCI you can say a 2.8.
That's the target.
What the ba the target the next target here 1.5.
That's more realistic.
Me ba cho me bisa question kere wadaroma. E di even say growth rate. Na so mining ni na so mining put no me bo ana. Na anye bia na wadaroma ye nyi ko ye nim anase ye nyi ko kire. Ye ko ye nim. Na betan sa dem ba. We na me ka say na me fa bukulon se bia ma adwuma. Ye ba ye common sense no mo. Ye nyi ko ye nim. Ti ade na abanti na fa de ye free 1.2.8 na about 1.5. Eno so ye nim ko no bia na. Ana no ye ko yachi. One thing that happens, so drop growth rate say there's a likelihood of we create unemployment. Because system will become a way be say one more say financial infa because be an anima be nkoye. Am I if you watch nanapa? Abroso nunsian anapa. Na petroni atom. To super 1 liter be 13 point something 0.5 or so per liter. Or can 14 for no. Ni nyina achi na aban sisi wa ye ni yentiam yensem ma no kan hu so bra no offer no na nru 4 cedis obeso mu no competent ones ne bae no obeso mu no na nru 4 cedis competent ones ne bae no obefa inflation na obisi na 50 na about 40 something tin ye ntu se ngwo mo so no na ye 15%. Ahon na ye the incompetent level na Bawumia bodin e de lectures no e ukrom ha no eno na 15% no. And the competent Messiah Bawumia at one as the leader no of the EMT no. You na 40 something percent to almost 50%. Also abon who modern pa.
Ghana what assign reasons now. Won't you mean compare situations too no?
Reason
assign them.
Whatever. Reason be the same.
Assign those reasons and
reason it be the same.
No, me know me as for me the downward revision of the targets it makes sense to
Nyabotre.
Because you keep it at 2.8.
It is making sense to you because no all three money achieve 2.8 no. Well, abaning more number.
But are you truthful to you say me modern bone to me no some
This is a government or mine. Sure. Ko check the growth rate at the time of NDC the Muhammad time na saying. But they saw everything wrong with everything that was going on in the country when it comes to economics.
Exactly what you are doing.
Management. No. I'm not doing the exact. I'm telling you that they made us understood. Said that was a wrong level to be. And that is how come the current president, when he was then a candidate in 2016, around September, tweeted, say, it is as a result of bad leadership. And the man woke up and we $1 now cost sound. But then 3 cities 47.
So you're pointing to that fact, say, bad leadership.
Son no my yes. Say no Martin.
But I'm saying that you're pointing to that fact, say bad leadership the Jabedi
because and they quite the bad a worse leadership. Bad is even better than worse. And then a worse leadership, a leadership without direction. Because we don't have leadership in the leader in this country.
What has gone into the worst leadership now?
Everything has gone into it. Because nothing seems to be functioning regularly in this country under this government. Let's take the things one after the other. Your debt to GDP was around 57%. And then I'm saying, but this government, Bawumia said that level na namono. You try epic level. Now you were hemic. Was heavily indebted middle income countries one or not the Ukrainian. At that time, I have the tweet here. I can read it to you. It's never papa. So Ghanaians should look up to them. And we make one more tweets in the back. Na e ade na me de baba betwe gina baby e Bank of Ghana for nsema na menu e ka bi. But before me do no. Your inflation na 15%. These two gentlemen saw everything wrong with say inflation in the 15% and yet so they got their candidates and co to form the even near from example Occupy Ghana to demonstrate that we are experiencing bad leadership in this country. Now best people no anyone Tombo most of say we are the best managers of the economy and you think when we are two worst managers there say we man ki aton o man ya tum na me no ka say Bank of Ghana say waboka ogusu boka ko Now me kind of statement no mind madam come say among boka pa. Currency depreciation. A Hong Kong boka 5.27 billion cedis. Tenio. And I pay yes me kind no. Bank of Ghana say we boka 5.27 billion cedis. And on quite as a result of currency depreciation. Ah, I wonder because I am back answer we. Tie. Nana Akufo-Addo. This is on the 8th of August 2016. Proud to get some few months of elections. Tie Nana Akufo-Addo masem. Was say the MBP will stabilize the currency exchange rate through prudent and disciplined macroeconomic management. Simple. Prudent and disciplined macroeconomic management. Can you say the reckless governance lifestyle we live in? Is this called prudent? Can we attribute this style of governance led by Akufo-Addo and Bawumia as a prudent management? It can never be one in this world. Now, on we are as well twice as soon on the end by December. December 5th, 2016, that same year. Ghana deserves better. That is the hashtag of Bawumia. Ghana deserves better. Not high interest rates. And that check one Google phone see about interest rate on banks loans. Check it. Ghanaians deserve better. Bawumia no. Not high interest rates. The boss see one of the prudent economic macroeconomic management systems never stabilizing and currency. Or not to see we deserve better, not high interest rates, not high taxes. Interest rate high taxes and depreciation of our currency till and depreciation of our currency, which are collapsing businesses. This is Bawumia for you. Alright, and the depreciation of the currency now my Bank of Ghana bought 5.something billion. The Messiah is still around. The economic the whiskey does the one wine or perambulating around the country. So a presidential candidate, the Ghana for him. Adanya or no vision. May God have mercy on us. Or no vision. But will be many DMRM. Peninsula will be the year and I would ye. And Penny for I'm full of children to us. So Bawumia, I'm full in ye. Currency depreciation now was so much a yen deserve was no. Now we deserve better than that under your tenure and your leadership. Your experience and now some Bank of Ghana now here in Nesika Samson.
Bawumia is the vice president. Don't address him as a president. Get it straight. He's the vice president.
Matthias,
don't address him as the president of the land.
Was saying, I know you can say, I have contested Mahama twice. Or no, was you contested Mahama twice? I cannot twice. The answer to contest
but so saying factual.
No, man, I'm kind. I never was saying, no, never was saying,
and yet sanity.
Not to say,
but only Mama contest.
Hey, now when I can't, I will be the
no, put it right.
Put it right, or no, put it right.
Debbie. I'm saying that.
That's what the man said.
We're going to back and forth. Once we are doing it, so no. Sabi what quote to never be a bribi and all pay to me. No, maybe your Gina Hawk can say, yes, the papa, and you win yes, or no, Bassa, the papa, no, say, Sefatano. After the issue, you're going to chikra. It did not buy any money, and not tell mamma and not tell that man has still not learned anything in this country. If I'm to go by what you are saying now, so indeed, in reality, he has not contested Mahama. In fact, when President Mahama was even responding, I said, I mean, in the contest, never mean that SCA can, because on the Nifuni Abatop event, what do you call it? Ballot. Yes. Ballot paper. So, I'm not missing the Abatos, I'm in the SCA. Now, the Aminia in the so, we said, I can be someone in the SCA can print, what I'm print. So, exactly. But I never just, one will share for you. He is still in the spirit of lying. A throne on the Guzudio. He can't stop. Only Sakraya. Because my so on Sakraya, never when some amount Trambu Kakarabiso actually in Nampodio. Baba Akumin Pempo Matranaka.
I want to say Nina Kotia one. I'm an any rational thinking human being in this country knows that you were not honest with your words and you have been very dishonest, extremely dishonest as a vice president. And Kao Kasabe, Kao make it be very careful. Say no, they not can be about you. South Sudan no watching. You said it. I didn't say that. You cited the then IGP, my boss, David Asante. He was the then IGP. What's the key amano? So fancy. Don't let him pay. Where are we today? Something which was around 4 cities. It's now around 12 cities. And now about 200% increase. Oh my. No, even 300% increase by number. What does have some? Yes, 4 times 3 and 12. So it's about 300% increase. And then yet this man is still going around and talking and lying at the same time. Okojinako, Uncle Casamientia, Oma Yere acquainting a bambia in the history of Ghana since Kwame Nkrumah days. Hey, and to your own Nkrumah what's the idea? The time now walk as no mind. Railway line from Accra to Kumasi Yadima. Anyone there's nothing called even a railway line from Accra to Kumasi, which was there in the 90s. Railway line from Accra to Takoradi is no more. But you came to meet it. When you need it's here the answer train can make one when you be here. And you will be a money. But you are so proud and bold to stand on a political platform to say that this government that you are part of railway lines more than any government in the history of Ghana. That was his words. Where do you read from? What's your money for you? Are you looking at the Ghana from a different planet or the same Ghana here? It's serious. So in summary, what I would say is that this man has not learned anything, number one, and he's not ready to learn anything, number two. That's why he's still in the spirit of lying. Oh, nyai. They are trying to say to me, no, Nensan can we, man, Nensan can the opening way. I don't know, you know, ba. A home and then the Besinkunya, Ekruma. Near Sinin Samin Yakuso. At the Atrano. No beginning Makuma winning.
No, actually, that's mess about just in NHIS reduces claims payment backlog to just 1 month. The National Health Insurance Authority has made additional payments of 186 million Ghana cedis to credential healthcare service providers. The July 31, 2023 payments has reduced to just 1 month debt owed to credentialed healthcare service providers. Prior to this latest payment, the authority paid 471 million Ghana cedis in June to cover claims submitted for up to January 23. The authority now makes monthly payments to service providers whose claims have been vetted and approved. These prompt payments to healthcare providers have increased their confidence and trust in the NHIA. The authority is committing to attaining 100% electronic claims management by the end of the year 2023. The essence is to eliminate wastage and ensure prudent use of available resources to provide the best healthcare services to NHIS members and surely renew the government's confidence in the NHIA's fiscal discipline. As a result of the rapid claims payments, the authority launched a platform known as Sunshine Policy to deepen accountability, transparency, and social auditing. Since its launch in March 2023, suppliers of drugs to healthcare facilities and other stakeholders are able to log onto NHI's website with privileged access to view payments made to deserving facilities. The highest level of transparency has won the admiration of healthcare managers as a critical innovation. Access to view monthly payments under the Sunshine Policy on the NHI's website has been given to all stakeholders, with the latest being all regional ministers through Honorable Justina Osu Banaine, Bono Regional Minister, the Chief Executive. Dr. Bernard Okoboy has confirmed that the key traditional rulers will also be given access to view claims paid as to deepen their ownership, involvement, and advocacy for the scheme. And that's coming from the National Health Insurance Scheme. And Omudia to Edomase for such a great job at Ekosu Honum. Dr. Okoboy, good evening. Your good job. Ghana for Ehu Nti Yedasi. Office of the Registrar of Companies in Sukoso Kai was a brainer society say bomo homodia na o file your annual returns and I say renew a year of business. Nti omokoso kai was say entwen en ma penalty ne ma na wakotua na afi o kasa na nsem na kwa bebre. Ene de o ma ni tiama say wonim say we school we are sorry we are situation we union foundation civil society organization partnership adwumakuo bia no either you are renewing your business or filing your annual returns. It's very important. Yet na emo adwuma na nkasa ntimi nkonkan na entumpon maybe bia na pese uti renew business o business need no diary short code *222# na fi follow prompt no na we make payment no on the ghana.gov.gh payment platform no at a fee of 60 Ghana cedi per year. Kaihunu say the renewal of a partnership echo 90 Ghana cedi. Professional bodies also who renew each professional member of their professional body. The fee is 30 Ghana cedi annually. For Office of the Registrar of Companies on 0302 666 081. And I said WhatsApp on Kwabeti Media for live so 055 765 3130 na what mini wana kasa. Would you choose our social media at ORC Ghana and that's all called one website on Muswa www.orc.gov.gh na what mini one edi a year in Kitao. Office of the Registrar of Companies say Bomo na omuntimi ensumu yi na bibia enkokama erenim say nimna for Dr. Festus Ewuakofi mashebedwanima Upper Denchira East ono so beba beka enuanom nsa wa ha na etimetua yenkomo 32 after 5 atikare bibi wa person okana ozey
when it comes to the public debt developments you see, sometimes facts and data, and especially economic data, you can twist them anyhow to suit your circumstance. And the Minister of Finance or Minister for Finance, in presenting the mid-year review, has not told us. He presented us at November last year. Almost presenting Fiscal, they presented data of public debt up to September 2022, and yes, sir. And that it represented about 23%, increase over the preceding year. And if you take the debt level as of 2021 September, now and you compare it to that of September 2022, there was about 23% increase, 23.7% to be specific. But between September and the end of the fiscal year, December, the finance minister conveniently does not tell us in nominal terms how much more of the debt has increased or has been added. What I say, and if you are presenting to us a review, so the idea is to present to us near AC by the end of the fiscal year. And if you reported all the way to September 2022, now you are giving us a review of what happened for the remainder of the year now. You should be able to tell us between September and December 2022, the debt stock was increased by this much. But conveniently, he quickly jumps to use data or reviewed GDP data for 2023 April. To say that, given the revised GDP data as released by the Ghana Statistical Service in 2023 April, calculate the debt to GDP ratio as at the end of the fiscal year 2022 2022 now, the debt to GDP stood at 71%. Even so, it's still very huge, but it kind of presents a lesser ratio. What must I say? If you were to use the GDP data as was calculated in the previous year, no, you would see that the value or the ratio would be higher. But conveniently to use the value in 2023 and then to calculate that against the debt as was accrued in the last fiscal year, which gives you a lower ratio. And like I said, these are just tactics and theatrics.
But they are allowed.
They are allowed.
Of course.
As economic data, you can massage it any which way you want. But so long as you code the right figures, but you can pick and choose which ones you want to use and how you want to use
okay,
them.
but remember Doka Kwaba, Upper Dentra, East, Mention. Doka Kwaba. But Obama or Casa Fidina show Medasi. Yes. But only a day. I see. Constituency is first time I'm in media Ubishia Obi. First time I'm in Constituency Boko.
So we knew.
Ayaboko. Oh.
It's an MPO. Pressure don't happen to me.
When him be a free background because Ayaboko. That is the point. And sometimes I don't know why.
Possible good student.
Sometimes they say, as a sapao. The makers lawyer says a very good student. Very good student. Oh, tell the Obama graph report. Dog be makwaba. Not many boko.
Oh. And they can't say I can't hear there a baby.
I don't know why it
is said there, meaning I can't. Was a constituency there. Oh, a larger constituency. I want some Maca Eddie. And I'm also there. I can say area.
Tina Fina Matthias.
Once about 2 months.
So what is your opinion about Galamsey? Galamsey, young Gemuma locals no enye. No, nya say James Akeke, but yen more makwenya bi no mutimi
makwenya. Nanado de community mining.
And Ukrainian
Abado. And you know,
and there be Mamma Canisha tight corner. There be the concert
mining.
I see.
But the impact of Galamsey. Apart from the mining on the landmarks, I said no, because it's on an tsunami and then and so a serious impact.
But what kind of sense I am to my
I made the institution the maker. Now, I would propose to now. When activities now
affecting you know.
It's only there. Okay, now what to pass because education in government.
Hey, oh, a candidate. No, I can't say MPP.
Oh yes. Unemployment.
I see.
The Ghana had more unemployment figures. We've done our very best as MPP government, but still high. High. So look at the number of students of movie school in a year. Poly, University, SSS. I mean, what do you put to your chest?
Put churning out every day. Everybody does.
Between absorb all. No, let's
even with our universities, no. There are hundreds of thousands in about.
We can graduation Gempa, Telecom University. Maybe
a lot of stress.
So, you know, Mama, you have politics and farm fra. When it comes
reality, no.
Yes,
unemployment is a function of political decisions.
And you know,
we cannot take politics out of it.
It is a function of political decisions.
Yes, and you know, if it is yes, you say yes. If it is no, you said you.
Like so I'm born.
You near heritage, no. Na esopa. Ya boy who modin bia. Nka badan ka necessary no nka ho am go fie no. Yeah. But what I'm telling you is that it's still not.
But they get clearance if I'm call for echo. I are careful. You're careful because most of the clearance, yes, the clearance affected among
you guys are focusing on public
sector. I think it drew attention to other areas, neutralizing. But the clearance said government clearance backlog. Let's be very fair.
But what I'm saying
is one wing and I would know. Now, what is a minimum outcome? I'm going to say,
lawyer,
you know it.
Dog, it's
but
I'll see enjoy another couple.
No, I'm not on like not specifically on the side, but generally speaking, when him says yeah, they can say I try to be careful.
It's a national business.
On Abujitum.
Meaning your definition of be careful.
What I mean is is out of control. It's worse than it was before. Let me even be more.
You see,
much more clear.
Awareness creation also at me abua. Now, Uban going to India. At least first, no go do a year at my Suma. Everybody will
be a found.
Now, what are you specific?
So, don't go on off. So, don't go on off.
Problem.
And then,
that's a tight constituency.
And then, who year to my Suma?
Ubia,
as Mr. the way they
and yet,
that's a crown cry. First, we come with a crown. But then, because of that awareness,
when you're yet now, so she see. That's the point I'm making. So it's out of control. Yeah, we can lament. As for lamentation, we lament on our own on daily basis.
Okay, on behalf of
program. Let me know. Or can't GDP?
Yeah.
Say, I mean, economic figures, they'll be to me. I'm starting to suit you because of GDP, across who divided the national debt by GDP. I know when you're lower ratio of 71%. But I'm happy so besides say a year and I say is it done? Almost time the same thing.
Maybe
if you follow the trend, yes, we know good time.
Twum Barima NDC.
Yes.
Somewhere
this is also. We are GDP no. Yeah, revised GDP no. Amount debt to ratio no. It was around 70 to 80. It will back down to 56. And you know, 57 no. So it is accepted. And you'll be the best your time I also revise the GDP. Or try and say
no, but the
finance minister must come to parliament and give his media review at this time. As we are in July, so can say what it's as if say
when I say what I mean is you could have still used the GDP figures for last year.
Why?
To give you a proper picture of how the fiscal year ended, but that's fine. I mean, you are free to do that. It's not a problem.
When you are making a research, you can go by that gentleman. Let me look at the GDP, debt ratio, compare with the previous, the old GDP. Exactly. The way I normal, then all the figures, now your various scenario and analysis. Your man in the media review statement. Even now, Babeka say the last year, and who they are, then say, no, you say, give us the states.
Mid-year, no?
Yes, mid-year. What it is now. And see, that is the GDP. So we are student research not to pursue who say the previous GDP, they are low and this year, or apply and look at GDP, debt to GDP, and I'm saying.
That's a different matter.
That's a different matter. But at the time the minister was presenting his budget, what was the GDP? And and yet an issue say will be a manipulative figures to be announced. Is it allowed? Is it accepted? It is done.
Okay, so Doc.
No, the reason I make one say all presenting GDP figures for 2023. No, we've done 2 quarters. That's 6 months. But he was presenting figures for only the first quarter. So if he's giving us updated data, he should give it up to the end of the second quarter, which is June. What must here? Because he's presenting in July.
Which data?
GDP data, no. It is quarter 1 data, no, buy.
June and data.
Yeah, what July man I hear what that means.
And then last day of July.
Yes, the last day of July.
And getting the data for GDP doesn't take 1 week. And you are aware. You are very much aware. Even when we are preparing December, the November national budget, we don't even use September figures. September figure. But look at the time lag. That is 2 months. 2 months. So to say, well, August ending. Now, what can I say? I will agree with you. But July crumble ending.
So, and the finance minister about parliament, Wabekasa Bibri, Diana Ufise, what achieve for us as a country?
It's very simple because we share budget you're preparing now. That I'm not call IMF. So, and you know, you'll be a panel. Post COVID-19 program for economic development program. And now I was saying, revise end of year budget for 2020
Asempa FM
to be in line by taking into account the IMF and any other activities. Dosha revenue was revised. Expenditure was also significantly revised. We share your budget deficit now. It's like in the olden days now, it may achieve 5.7 now. What kind of COVID time? You cover 12, 13, 14. Per the revision now, the deficit is 5.7% of the GDP. We are almost close to the stability rate of 5%. So the revision it should be in line. Let me give you the actual figures.
Budget deficit is 10% or no? On cash basis. Cash basis is 10%. Commitment basis they are also crowded.
Oh, they do hold man now, so what can figure? Minimum budget deficit, whether you are using the cash basis or you are using the RS basis. You are revising GDP rate, so growth rate from 2.8% to 1.5. Now oil growth from 3% to 1.5. And the inflation, so you're also revising of 31%.
Page 7.
I know you're page 63 of the budget. But let me go to the revision of the total revenue. Total revenue that is so by 9 billion. Original budget is 143 billion. This year, about 134. Out of that, non-oil revenue, they increase by 3 billion. And now total oil tax revenue, so and also your money also by 3 billion. Then the revenue from the upstream petroleum activities, about formed by almost 13 billion. Which as an adena. Apart from it's not as a result of volumes of crude production, but because of the CD appreciation. At the time I prepared budget, the exchange rate was high, and we use the volume to multiply the exchange rate. Now the exchange rate has improved. There has been appreciation of the CD, until the significantly affected the total revenue and over expenditure as well. Yes, we tried. The expenditure was also reduced very significantly. We share the total from 205 to 189. That's also a very significant. We have the various aspects of the expenditure. Compensation, for instance, the same. We share interest payments as well, and also I'm an number from 52 to 48. The goods of goods and services in there, Yamano, and maintaining Honoma. And I also revise the capital expenditure also down, also from 26 to 20. I can go on and on and
this discipline as a result of IMF Ayongo Fanana.
Oh, which aspect of the reduction we can?
Well, I'm saying that yeah.
Oh, so it's obvious because we are very tight, and the capital expenditure there. You need to have it revised to reflect your total income stream. You say what you may revise your total income stream by 9 billion. Capital expenditure so any remaining the same. Also, we are just certain expenditure you cannot tackle so much, like the compensation, statutory payment, and interest rate. But interest rate in like I said in Krano, it means amano aba a form kakra interest rate in aba form from 52 to 44. That's almost 8 billion. Once you adjust your total revenue downwards, also you say all other expenditures also my year there. And you'll be widening the deficit. A couple 10, 11, 12. Now, to say that
are we expected to enjoy a certain stability, Anna?
Sure. You have to. With this program in place, it means the government is now conscious about the expenditure. Say, your money expenditure remaining the same year, you'll be comfortable. So we have not hit that, but it has been revised downwards. You have also revised your revenue downward. So you have to work within these parameters.
But so then tough times ahead, though.
Well, when we say tough times, it's different from stability. You ask me stability.
Exactly.
Are you now asking me a different question?
No, you stability there the tough times be better because all the Sanshi na ebuama no maybe etimagina oyi no. Sanshi ni muno.
Physical discipline.
That's where I'm coming to.
Physical discipline doesn't mean tough times ahead. You have to be physically disciplined.
Sometimes it would
a bigger impact.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yes.
A bigger impact.
Yeah. To have impact. So workers
suspend or act no. Fiscal responsibility act no.
Oh,
and I'm no, said during COVID we was suspended.
Say suspended. It came to Parliament.
No, me guys was it.
Just someone send their ban.
So physical discipline and rate, of 5%.
Yes, deficit.
He may do all the more. We share 2022.
Then
restore
the act.
By 2024, we said by 2024, we'll get to that point. If you look at the trend analysis now, the projection there, so by 2024, also it's achieve 5%.
No, but if
that's
the
where
act is still
discretionary now, but if there's a fiscal responsibility that forces you, you don't leave room for discretion.
That is where me piano no.
Anything na ya shall say by 2024, 25 no. You
bedu. Any act number.
Act the best scan mutimi.
Phase 2 am peso mu yi. Emba
Act the best scan mutimi.
Planning for phase 2 no angom bedwin
on December 2024.
Planting for food.
You see, if they restore act no.
There's a shift from the old formula.
Budget.
Your projection say, but 2024-25, or see it may do so.
Oh, every budget look at your projected deficit for 2022.
Yes.
You projected 6.3% on commitment base. You ended up doing 11.2%.
Hey, increase.
Yes. And to ask for projections there, you project in every budget.
Also, why
are you revising downward your targets? Because when we say yes, your 2023
so
targets.
We have revised the revenue downwards. We have also adjusted the
expenditure. And American usually projections in Chile say, "Okay, say by 2024 a bedroom." The fact say you've projected say by that time you would have achieved the 5% in Chile, but some run babaka, it will force you to achieve it.
Are you ruling out there?
I'm not ruling it out, but I'm saying so that we have certainty. Bring back that act, restore the act. Then we will be confident 100% because we can cause for your prosecution. But as it stands now, if you go beyond the 5%, I shouldn't see.
We'll bring it back.
Okay, so I'm in trying to come. Who's on the car say? No, make because number 2 here me. Beyond stability, no. Yeah, expect to say you better me a belt will be man. I want to say that's all I want to understand.
Stability is just the beginning.
Because beyond stability,
what next?
That's all I'm asking for.
It's a critical question to ask.
They can't bring to me answer. But no.
Nothing about the doctor.
On try. If
you look at the macroeconomic indicators now, we shall compare to December up to date, all the parameters in show a favorable trend. And
First.
Yes. Give it inflation, interest rate, the CD is doing very well. Even policy rate currently though is high. But I'm very certain that the next few quarters, Bank of Ghana will be compared to bring the policy rate down to match with the interest rate. Because their top T-bill are 30-40% now. And then I will say policy rate now to 20-something%. I know back down. I know in the next few months, it will come down. And no bad down one. Then the cost of doing business in this country will be very
exactly. That's where
member will be able to bring that comfortability as I'm watching now. Among for people no, entimi embano. So that is the clear.
The more taking care of local industry players, no more taking care of them because issues are so say wronger. A buyer so direct.
Until they revise revenue because affected when the city depreciation. So affected the local industries hugely because you can say even the national debt cry no, they almost 100 billion to it because of the city depreciation. In a private, the import base is so huge. And you know, affected but city I started appreciating it there. At least that feasibility and comfortability but we are hoping that by the end of the year we are expecting the policy rate because the banks are lending based on the policy rate. Januna or say a bad down pay. Now the cost of doing business are low. A passada there is means we are all there individually. Cost of inflation rate will also be coming down. So if you have your interest rate coming down, if you have your inflation also coming down, you have your city also appreciating. These three parameters, put them together, it's equal to comfortability in life.
Okay, so my finishing with planting for food and job. No, I've just been forwarded from the ministry. The data number and after reading this out, I'm sure somebody maybe you're free, but any the revised version. But a dog doctor we answer. Doctor Wadaroma maybe uncle off a bit. War constituency or no. We are aware of a meter challenges be a cause. We are aware of that. Meter challenges. As meter ECG, we are aware of that.
Meter
is a national problem.
A national problem.
But when him severally say people are abusing it, taking advantage of it into quite baba or constituency.
Almost every committee be our me persuasive piano in here extension. And you have small because you have more lighter. The yellow sufficient do some point to be a no could air today. Air trading in an I'm not supposed to sit down. I'm not supposed to sit down with one. Here extension. Posts I was with a pursuer. Posts no and now baby you swear. I was so to me meters near day. It's me a baby.
I saw the command service lines answer.
Yes.
And some
minimum meters is here to one because here to a year MP crew 1012 or more complaining man.
Almost 2 meter 1,200.
Not with your consent too. But they've complained. Yeah.
Any day. Let me extension. Because 5 committees be more light. You supply almost 3,000 meters. Free.
Shep one miana.
Yes.
Yes.
No, almost one she share how the meter check. But it be see a chira. Making you
unpopular. Shep projects, under Shep, the meters are very, very, very cheap. It's less than 1 cedi per meter.
Yes, almost free.
Under Shep. So normally, or no year MP, can say instead of you paying that 80 pesos or 800 pesos, it's then the meters will give it to you for free. So Shep meters are very cheap. You know, I used to be at an agency. Very cheap, but. Baby and your shop on the Nibono and definitely expect to pay high, obviously. But normally, Yana, from saying, so go was a middleman for a baby and a man, because the actual figure is so tiano. Now, no share to swing that to be maybe a knock near once, but will be able to afford your 2 cities.
Okay. So it depends on the kind of interactions also no constraints now.
Oh, yes, and the
frequency of that interaction is key.
Because it was critical. MTN for the baby library. Now was see another one for the million meter. But meeting can say property meter free. You know, Ekosiisen, all the assessment you pay almost 1,200 visa. Into some
and gonna be a single face, no.
The other areas no. The sum opening assume there yao.
Papa.
Now street light. What do you say, sir? Car way. Half one now or light.
Now opposite no be no
opposite. And to know then they say they will pay. Now, Omotia, no,
okay.
Yes.
Okay, so I think
it's a problem that we have.
What do we have to say, the Dr. Kasufa? Then we can move into another area of conversation.
You ever going to look at the ordinary man standard? Dr. Bawumia can ordinary man standard which was it there's no economy than your pocket. GDP, why inflation, the ever inquiring go see or my your both figures in another do a team crew much jump many domains, some and so add the odd year can one Tiasian. The understanding to GDP in economy is in the bottom. That's what Bawumia made us understood. Now I say, no economic gymnastic can ever change that rhetoric. It's economy in any bottom. And this is what bottom number to you about more and one home.
The dog who can now.
Your bottom. Bottom. Ah, that analogy not my message 100%. And I know bottom. And this is a woman number. Dear Tia can I can't go and go and never him out. That you didn't know what the other. Bottom 5 cities gradual.
Your man showing in Egina. I'm a wonder of fire. Opima concan as on mine, competing with others. Now, my move for no so one home harry on based on the figures I will churn out. Wow. See, the bribia than your Piagun chance na inflation as sebi EBD. Na when you can't say inflation, but inflation in bar. It means what it simply means in that in the simplest as in say animal boying. But that's what I'm saying.
Okay,
that.
But I don't know. And make candy assist what my point I'm by quoting Bawumia and say any money born by your foot. Inflation number for my one knife. Not the only sky when you how can the person still buy? You can buy. But she say go Aquema Emani Pado Harama. If you read in and out, any positive hope be as my better catchers and not in the growth rate target in a crash. That was a deal with me achieve. Uncle Capoya, Emani problem. Poyana one can and these are the best managers in the Kutawan. And now what else like? Best managers in the Kutawan no man want to don't meet. Ah, now because I'm the under can be incompetent one. When your best managers, when Muna Mizaya no. Do you understand the Mizaya? Do a Joe crown if we woman and we hear one maniemu or bar maybe be a hobby as dear or no functions should ma. If you are saying for na saying you mean call him moi. Okay, Jan never toy who as realistic budget. What you but I don't know why. You see, I don't ever want to. It's a dog who didn't come. Say when we are faced with the reality, let's go by it. You can implement especially Mofra channel out of ABC Mofra. Yeah, don't for Mufri University APA. Reality is that now we are confronted as a country with that. How do we solve that problem? Both the private and the government. How do we solve it? The reality here is that as I say, I buy no more digu akwemuno. Nka ompesi ebedu sam pempensuwi. Eno ma bia beka ho. Ana buy na nkasa so mre in terms of a certain level of mismanagement so. Epia na tikwa ka ho. You agree to these factors? Eno ma ben sa na afisa ba beka ho. In your opinion, Ghana ye omanya ye ne ho. Very good. Yeah, we know we have our sovereignty. Assistance now. Our sovereignty has not been taken away. So in because of our reliance with other people. Exactly. Fine. You and what you know. So when you say I didn't so be boy COVID. Ebe boy chima. To what? Why do you want to run away from that? I will always run away from that. The number of years, the number of years we can talk about. But let's establish it. Of course, let's establish that. I will always have issues with that. When you quote that so-called external factor issue. And you so-called though. Maybe I call you with a fino. Kwabna. And man go for him nada. When they go to one doors. What would that? I know what you did. Send money we are no kuno. And then buy me a good so my relative. Now listen. We are not disputing the first COVID and as a COVID by. I mean, this is as they will say a local knowledge. Everybody knows this. COVID came. Now the next thing is that the impact of COVID. Now there are two sides to everything. When we talk of impact, there are positive impacts, there are negative impacts. Have you heard this government citing the positive impact before? What is that? Like money that you had that you never anticipated for. Certain money that were even in this country, and certain amount you cannot go for it. Certain funds that were created by the John Wayne Mahama government, now a cap to about $100 million or so. By virtue of COVID, the movement is Samra, a changing a move treasure no cost. Did you ever anticipate all those things?
We still have the COVID levy, right?
Yes. COVID levy because you was Joe. What the buyer? From the thing, World Bank for my $430 million. I buy body crash and was see we got so senior, you know, you see, I made a point to say, Jimmy, no, there are two sides. There is the negative side and then the positive side. I'm now may highlight the positive side never and I'm more income and I make a magana 40 and no one can that. Mukambia mo de movies anko ya mamono pen an amboso basika munya mu westi no so ka say COVID na mra wa na okrum ansa I wasn't in Ghana through that COVID but me but just at the later part and I think I will get the election na mo free mo almost I mean the sabra fen ya be able the sense me ba so now sabre ni mu no na me say ade ba kwa na koso not just in Ghana even in the western world ni na say work from home.
Oh, yeah, free. So me most of the work I don't do a year of Britain and most of them I work from Ghana
experience
with the said Triauka.
What's say?
The said Triauka out if you need Triauka.
Japo mo kwa uti
Yes, you said Triauka. And I'm saying experience be that.
Teacher ni ma kwa ko 1 month. 3 weeks. The
front line workers in
the I am asking you a simple question.
We are aware the front line workers in the
are you also aware that there were people who were not supposed to be front line workers but they took money from the COVID?
That conversation we can have.
We are having it today. What are you having?
We can have it.
You haven't in the yard.
Along the line. But we should take them up. But we are even going to talk about the irregularities that comes up.
What does it? So who can front line? There were people who were not supposed to be front line, but in your books they were front line.
And you will be informed, so you're not interested.
You should
be interested in what the law has done to those personalities.
Which procurement has the law done anything to them?
It keeps doing.
Has the Lord done anything to those people? The COVID audit report in the Bible. One more who said no one front line for I just can be a deal.
Maybe retrievals are banana away because who's a graphic front page, you know. Retrievals amounting to about 15
from which fund? Retrievals on which funds?
Okay.
Sikaben and a retrieve a wound say biaba. COVID didn't become one. About you contractor from the COVID levy. Watch out.
Who procurement basically?
Watch out, you see, let us not be deceived, though. Senior, what
procurement?
You had a minister telling you said your boy this year. Was he entered into the contract? We didn't think properly before entering into the contract. The same minister of health, Accra ambulances per the report. What tear part of the money to the company so on supply ambulances. Kebasimene.
Ebisine.
See a TI ambulance and no. Yesika and no. Now could try to do a subject of say, oh, and some view when you're on to Macau.
Tis a word in a call.
This is the government that we are talking about. Very insincere. What do you need to cry my input? What you cry? I'm on one. They are only interested in sucking us. And
Sucking
they are sucking. One more.
Sucking, yeah. Doctor, draw attention. Doctor, draw attention.
No. That's how we're lawyer. Hold on now. Mancanza has a law work in this country. Me say, Ubisa me say, young independent be a man taking numbers. Why now when you say you won't do it? A man taking on.
No,
there's no person.
Retriever, behind the
scene. Retriever, and retriever, ya ubodi. The COVID the become one.
Okay.
Come on, I don't count. Your body, I was saying, the graphic man was angry. COVID the minimum. I know my dear you. Ah, now we are not. I don't know more chess can amount party members. No.
Oh, sure.
They were sharing the money to their party members. I'm telling you.
The term for it, I like
They were sharing the COVID money to themselves. Yes, right. My
stories like
my mama story be. Now if you come as neighbor. Okay, I say ECBA 1 day slot for now you feel be about new trade. You say, or my just 1 day so be even the one person to the because much never been in here. That then may ban a common I think. Around 2. I find me do sino. And I'm here some maybe I'm a cousin baby do a crowd. Tell you about that maybe I'm not for your point. And I'm mentioning you because I was in the group. To my mention why unfortunately minimum be na easy office work. And I'm a couple of husband could PM assembly because normally I you find them around the same place, you know. Me call assembly office what was sino. I want the district capital for Fantastic South. Say me call pay me the akotno kwabra. Me do am park me carpet. Me be see from a pen abranti me call minimum tell me shall na minimum say free another community for you. Oh no ba me kan no o chia me no introduce no say no MPP coordinator tin you MPP coordinator say rank bi say any MPP ma this German say bi say any was so MPP coordinator and ba na say okay na mpacho assembly no so me be head na so me be tro me din no so da bi ha de one more e ba gisika no tin you but I saw a long queue of people a man member salary bebre oh, I don't know. I mean, honorable. I've mentioned who came to me. Me say an MPP coordinator came to me. Eti, am I take it or leave it? With the family, there was an audio that leaked.
And I think you draw my attention to an audio.
It was leaked from Sabulu and Azadeng.
And he's been taken on.
Parliamentary candidates and a chairman.
And I'm saying he's been taken on.
By who?
Who is taking who?
Who is taking who?
Categorically.
Young man is guys who go cheni.
Na AC.
PC and a chairman will be at the only body.
Telephone team, no friend.
They were sharing the COVID money to themselves.
Chopping it. So if almost two say,
I am telling you, my money. Now some me can. Some me I'm on one track from Tamale. So some me want to Donzo.
So let's get
what's happening.
But the point is that the money was not meant for that.
Nothing of that.
The money was not meant for that.
That is why
under COVID era,
the people they are involved to be
under COVID.
And the minister is still at post. Which one?
The health minister.
The health minister. Sputnik V has accounted for it. Procurement are the man conform we are testing. Airport. And also was embassy. So who is going to hold who responsible?
Right? I think sometimes anyone boy has a specific reference to some of the things that we are talking about.
What is that?
Maybe a copy of this report. Who say? Kwanda local government ministry there.
Wow, so
yeah, okay. The Ministry of Health, the Impona, okay, then yeah, the ministry.
Anyway, okay.
I think I'll just give you something.
We've been talking about buying Nyoma and Koyin as if and the need to rationalize expenditures. What him say Sagleme? Minua can want some crowd harder. It's a government investment. What him say Marco Pokwase wants another house.
Yeah, Pokwase. Sagleme, is it not because maybe sir? Yeah.
At the point they said they wanted to sell it out
to private people. For private people to
exactly, they are still working to sell it out. What must I say?
Dr. Pachobem. Dr. Pachobem. Dr. Pachobem.
No, I say I can want them. No, this is the right time because media.
their course.
Very
good, very good.
Exactly.
Let's calm down. We want to.
I want a new topic.
Health.
This is paragraph 109 under Ministry of Health.
Yeah.
We observed that the Ministry of Health, the ministry, paid 10,309,119.94 as premium for special life insurance cover for 10,000 health workers and allied health professionals working on the COVID-19 pandemic without any life insurance policy document. Two.
Any life insurance policy
document. One. And then detailing the beneficiaries, the allocations, the next of kin in case of any death or whatever. And the question is, is
that how you distribute it?
And guess the companies are enterprise life insurance.
So my interest continues to be after some of these things, what do we do?
What does it?
Do we
nothing? They don't do anything.
Maybe for
they're
now.
not doing anything.
Maybe for now.
That's what I'm saying. But
because
as
no, look, and I keep saying that we shouldn't wait for the next government to prosecute.
We should do it now.
Exactly. Yeah,
there is no balls to do that.
Now the next government would be saddled with the responsibility of prosecuting Crawford and investigating Crawford who are alleged to have committed wrongs.
I think sometimes you see this country to when your NDC need loyalty here, Auditor General report no break go and make referrals to what has happened to this country.
Exactly.
Auditing. So sometimes as a country,
and American,
you have a problem, and we take advantage of each other.
Yeah, we do.
It's how was you scream money bro so as if say and then the Auditor General report but it's you see that's what I'm saying that I'm looking for how do we kill off some of these reoccurrences. Every day is coming. We seem to be disengaged or disabled.
But once again, I'm sure we are talking about something that Abai will see and not dininya. That is COVID. Was and Nadinia and Naman and Naman
seem to reappear.
And the Musika when ya man for the Duma buying us a jibbo home, but I COVID a benti. What this cannot add your boss and Sabra?
Okay,
and you think we can mention it?
As Sabra,
Oba na me can say yet ha e complaining
lawyer have you Asansa brother again
yes you COVID in Ukraine na say for consider ben and talk on enjoy you now Abai is claiming said there is recovery now so Ukraine and Russia they are still fighting it just you said the way to recovery no and problems are a woman no and necessarily and largely because of Russia and Ukraine and talk
the Russia and Ukraine any sufficient reason for
I sat down to do some brief analysis. What is the direct effect of Sa Ntokoi on Ghana? First, what are the imports are air affected? And what are the other things are air affected that directly impacts your economy? Ebimuka fertilizer and if you look at how much fertilizer we import from Russia and Ukraine is almost negligible compared to other places that importing fertilizer free. That is one. Two, grains. Yaka wheat. Ghana for the reason wheat. Woody wheat.
Oh, there.
On kind for
4 months. And look at diet change.
Yeah. What I say. So if you look at wheat consumption in this country, it's so low compared to a place like Egypt. Omudia, you can say that directly, how because they consume something that directly comes from Ukraine, Russia, wheat. Ghana, our consumption of wheat is very small compared to other grains are consuming. So the import of grain into this country from Russia, energy, any Russian can to petroleum products. In fact, a lot of the petroleum products are importing from the Middle East. People are even importing, crude and refined products from Russia. Ghana, what they do is that they route it through other countries. Now, bedruha. And impact, but it's not as significant as the managers of this economy are making us believe it is. Enundanchen. Usha, I was just looking at some of the figures. And I feel say, look, when the finance minister was giving us an update on you know the fiscals, you know, when it comes to cedi depreciation, the currency has depreciated, and I'm talking about the currency against dollar. Usha in 2022, I'm trying to, it has just disappeared, but I'll get it again. Usha, I think it's around 20 something percent as at now compared to last year, which was 30%. It tells you that the currency is still underperforming, and once we currency underperforming, the way no boy bending, and honorable made an allusion to BB. Part of your public debt rising is because of size exchange rate in some semi. Because when you borrow, you don't borrow in Ghana cedis. I'm talking about external.
The interest rate keeps building,
and it's in dollars. So if you're and the legal tender in this country is cedi, and to go to yeah, as Ghana cedi. No, the
legal tender is cedis
in this country. What's that? Oh, the dollars.
No,
but it's illegal. Illegal tender.
Let's not bring Cecilia Dapa in this conversation. It will be unfair.
How is it unfair?
And I'm saying that.
Yeah, $1 one of them.
Now $1 on the illegal tender. Is that the country taking
illegal tender? It's an illegal tender. It's a currency, alright, but it's an illegal tender.
What makes it even illegal? What makes it illegal?
You cannot spend the currency we spend in this country is not dollars.
But that's what I'm saying, sir.
So if you are spending dollars, it's illegal.
But one who saw spending dollar. If dollar is found in a room, and bank, there's a certain limitation of certain
decorations. Dollars, not the room decorations.
No, in Casa, but I'm saying that.
Anyway, that's just by the way. The exchange rate is still the exchange rate is still not doing well. And to the extent, and even our growth,
cumulatively, the performance against all these,
and now we've revised downward in target to 1.5, which as we say, the projected outcome might even be way lower. So if you you have a target, say me bomb me home say by the end of the fiscal year, me per se at least main you cry 1.5. What must say? That's the target. So it's the minimum. But there's a possibility, say, over to me. Like you can go beyond that, but the likelihood say a year less is higher. Essence say anchor, you look at your trend, like your growth trend, and I will share factors now push growth. Now when we say look in the next 2 quarters now be a factors now ma economy atumpono, there is a likelihood say be 1, 2, 3 factors touch makakra until me my the target now is set until let's revise it from 2.8 to 1.5. Which means that it is likely say 1.5 nukrawunya. What you say? So if we are saying say economy says here a recover and you are likely to record a lower growth rate, and let's just say we are still not off. We are still not like I can example. We are still not away from the trouble. We are still within the remits of the trouble. But the other issue and I spoke about seglement. Niente amika and say, look. You are in trouble, so you rationalize your expenditure. Bro, for economists would always say. And they say, if you are in a tight hole like we are, in a deep hole like we are, either you increase your revenue, which is difficult to do, and you rationalize your expenditure. Now, we are introducing new expenditures. And Amika said, look, what is the objective? We want to increase housing. Ye was sagleme, ye no, esi, ye see ye tuntama, ankrankrafo. Na ye ko start another one so ewo kwasi esikasem na ye ke esika na ye. At the end of the day, government is going to incur yet another cost trying to put up another one in Pokwasi. Abra ni ye sika bebre in Saglemeno ye we don't even know the state of it right now. And now honorable can be about Sagleme say those who start. I am not for a minute saying say holding brief for anybody who played a role in the mess in Saglemeno should be held responsible whether we end this new MPP and found. But my point is, as we should be able to find some closure to that issue before we can move to the next. But we are doing splinter projects. Esan says, you see, Nentia, a lot of the time politicians are accused of corruption. They say when you do a lot of projects, bibinti na ebimu eye projects, not necessarily.
Now you are speculating.
No, miba, no. You see,
Ususu say saglimena ka ho yenwie enti no adentina nke be ye pass e be wie saglimen komo no ansa na yesika ho akwatwe no yasa akwa dibia akwa ye poku ase de na debia da enti interest be na wo ma wo
procurement bebem no ye procurement min ka so be discuss
we move from saglimen poku ase saglimen problems na e wo hodo na be heritage until last year.
Didn't you spend some more money on Saglement?
Minister of Works and Housing, you buy a year of valuation. Come and inherit here. Sika now, and this pump alcohol and the valuation of my year. The gap no. And Tama, you see, hold on.
Attach just spent money on Saglement.
So, Saglement. Who pursue low do side with the private sector now? And by affordable.
But which government project has ever been affordable?
This Popokwasi project, you don't even know the funding. No, you should be able to know. Tell us. But it's not government. It's going to increase government works.
It's not Minister of Works and Housing here.
Oh,
you've and now you are telling me it's a private enterprise.
Do you know the source of funding?
It doesn't matter. Once it is government of Ghana doing it, at the end of the day, it comes back to government. Once a government of Ghana project, whether Nipani is going to borrow a government of Ghana revenue, a government
I'll urge you to find out the source of funding before you.
No, when you say source of funding, who? Is it the Ministry of Works and Housing?
My doctor.
Okay. I just wanted to learn. The question is, which institution is responsible for that project?
I say Works and Housing and so many projects.
Ministry of Works and Housing is not a government wing. Is it not a government ministry? What I say, and if it is a government of Ghana institutional, their budget and their expenditure is funded from the consolidated fund. Abai whether abai akobo bisiaba, ana abai edu enwan revenue at the end of the day, abai ne bon huka. Unless you are telling me, say, Ministry of Works and Housing is only, saying it's for facilitator, not private institution.
So by close of tomorrow, by this time, you will know where the source of funding is. I will not go for
when you say source of funding,
yes,
which is
it has nothing to do with government expenditure.
No, is it a government of Ghana project or not?
If you want to come and speak on that, do research on that and know the source of funding.
The question is it a government of Ghana project or not?
It's not.
Then very well. Then why are we even talking about that being an affordable housing project? Say government is bringing an affordable housing project.
Is it not the government that is spearheading it?
And when you say spearheading, how do you mean?
Because if you look at the cost of the entire project, it's running into millions of dollars, about 8,000 or so housing units. The government will have to do maybe some rules and restrictions here and there, making the land available for the private sector to develop up. And it's being shared for about 5 or so contractors. I don't want to go into that.
Why is it there is a lot of there is lack of clarity in what he's even saying. Say you have a charm 5 contractors. When you say contractors, why am contractors? I'm buying contractors, Anna.
There be minimum contractor back okra.
No, who contractor? Who is a contractor?
Dominic.
Is Obia Miwe Juma, and I'm contracting you to execute that project. What is here? You become a contractor working for me.
You build, you own, you sell. Yes.
You said BOT is not you build, own, and sell.
Yes.
And BOT you build, own, and transfer.
Yes.
Is that the arrangement?
No, build, operate, and transfer.
No, you see, you can build, operate, and transfer. Yeah.
So you operate at some point.
Yeah.
And what you carry, then you transfer back to the state.
Yes. Is that what you're saying?
I want to let you know, say, it's not 100% government funded, and
so now we have moved from it is privately funded to not 100%
government commitment. I know catching assassin acquiring this animal. No, but Okasa. I think Okasa. I'm saying that. Yeah.
Or you want me to be shouting.
No.
We have to discuss.
Yes, so I've told you, government commitment to provide an environment in the light.
You see, I don't mean to ask you. Why is it the role of government is to create rules, provide land? What you say? Government provides land. That's some form of equity. I say, oh, I buy. I'm a private owner. You see, what are you talking?
We are looking at affordability, and if you look at the price of this unit, some are going for $8,000.
8,000.
I'm telling you,
$8,000.
Yes, you see, you are here. I'm saying that you see it.
$8,000.
By tomorrow, we will give you the details.
8,000.
We have
8,000 a week. 8,000.
The highest of the figures were about 42,000 for a 3-bedroom or whatever.
3-bedroom.
Yes, we have studio, we have 2-bedroom, we have 3-bedroom, we have 4-bedroom.
Okay,
so by tomorrow, I don't want to.
You don't even have 200,000.
I don't want to preempt it. That's what I'm saying. But
this is more than affordable.
You decide details, you know,
but say beyond 8,000, you can go beyond. Hey, also the old customer. I am painting picture to say and $8,000 beyond 8,000. Yes, I call for me.
What I said, $1,000 go. And last week, what's $7,000 go
for dying? Who thought dying?
$8,000.
Miss on last you know.
If you are going to the US, how much do you put in your pocket?
2,500.
And I will show you.
Na me contract guy
you
Debbie na na mo dey was
something.
Is it the woman
Russia Ukraine war no. What kind direct impact? There was a direct impact on the Ghanaian economy. But they also who say about importation, we don't only import from Ukraine. In the impact of the war also affected. If we are seeing, I mean, in normal Ghana had more, they be partner young import. Inflation, of course, so that high, no. They import to meat, they import to wood, they import to fish, cereals, no, so, where are we importing them from?
From Brazil and
China?
Argentina.
Is it China or US?
No, Brazil and Argentina.
All those countries were all affected. I'm telling you, they were all affected. Their inflation rate was so high. And you imported inflation. You see, China and the India, the Turkish and the rest are imported no money now. Inflation were quite high.
So our inflation was imported, or is imported inflation?
It's partial. Yes, we imported everything. And to remember, when say because we don't import oil or cereals so much from Russia, you know, we all know intimate impact everywhere. So.
The impact is just minimal.
Of traffic
the impact is not something that is so gross.
What is your definition of minimal impact? What is the definition of that?
You see, what kind of sad then
I don't know man announce now TN point even. They be out there am TN ebem.
I'm telling you free.
Man we na say okay.
Anti-China was China or is China heavily affected by the Ukraine-Russia war?
China's inflation at the time?
No. What was it?
Because Ghana don't we import from this in China?
No, I'm asking you. What was the rate of inflation?
I think
you can check.
I think
the historical rate of almost this in 200%.
China is now experiencing this inflation. Almost price is now performed to the point that it's moving into negatives.
The fact that today and inflation.
Money really point why.
Figures here established on Hadmin. And the figures are historic figures from last year to this time. Inflation to me can say a normal look if an importer want to start importing now. Or best start to establish CLC, or best start be normal before embrace market in over 6 months. So you can't use the current China interest rate alone or inflation rate. And most of the countries that Ghana was importing from now, inflation echo high. Yes.
Honorable see Ukraine the effect
wrap up my dog wrap up
very realistic. So very realistic budget. Yeah, who's a conditioner 2019 COVID program you're calling, or say come out of a program for economic development.
That's true.
Now, if the program economic development that's base, and yet stable, you will just be deceiving the public. Until in the wisdom of the finance minister, say, okay, look, certain targets are kind and yet realistic. Let's revise them down. We assemble the beam the woman. We think also get me more in some finance minister said for being bold.
Sir,
you are reducing your most times when you talk about media. But if you said them, you're about to see.
No, sometimes you supplementary.
He said he's going to borrow.
Yeah,
he's going to borrow.
Supplementary budget count.
But this time there's no supplementary budget. Last year too, the same thing. There wasn't any supplementary budget. You try to work within. Once we already see revenue, you also have to reduce your expenditure. And then a bit the physical stability now, it will achieve. Until Yama Ghana, the realistic budget for us to work on. And we are hoping the interest rate, the inflation, and all the city also to continue to appreciate. Then the benefit, when we are preparing 2024 budget, that is where we are going to scale up all these parameters and economic growth. Look, we are in this country, we've achieved the highest GDP growth before. And what? Yes. We achieved it before. And when they say much more achieve one single year, the following year, mobile. This is negative.
It was negative.
Yes.
From Abba.
Yeah, we can't what yes, the communication director. No,
this issue I think that you guys should check up.
Yeah.
Yeah, COVID once many. What him say? If an issue is going to be like if results are going to result from an issue. Okay.
What is the
Ministry of Health in some say? Munim say munyina mweja ntina.
Oh, anaso bienga.
Yet Hannah, we are still complaining that the exchange rate still I was low. Our currency is depreciating. Abrayetimi konye sika pudwa millions of dollars. It will be them. How do you expect? And you see the problem of exchange rate,
And I'm going to
it's a supply side problem. You see,
why?
The exchange rate problem is a supply side issue. Say forex now you need to do no in circulation. If you have 10 of Sicily pass in this economy, the exchange rate will suffer. I mean, your currency will suffer.
That's the reality.
That's the reality. If one person can hold over $1 million,
are you changing the topic to Sicily?
Doctor,
we had the causes of exchange rate. And then last week, of Abachijako, I can't say be. What are you doing about it? He raised very serious issues. You have not